I'm gonna take a little drink first.
Your giant
the
pink
ginormous
dildo
pink
of
dildo.
Fucking.
Whoa!
It's huge.
Someone summoned me.
We're finally back. Wild Dice is back. It's taken months to get here of cancellations and stuff. But on the day a new FAQ dropped, somehow we booked this day in advance. And here we are on new FAQ day. It's a good time. I'm here with Rob, Aitan, and Demetrius. And we're going to have a good time. What's everyone been up to?
I just figured out what Monster Munch was. And I got like my first pack in the mail. And it was pickled onions, and like I don't even care if the beatus gets me and they have to take the foot. It is delicious, dude. It's so good. It is unbelievable.
That's it. Rob has officially pledged his allegiance to the king. He's had his Monster Munch. He is ready to go.
Give me my red coat and my tea. I'm ready.
They are really good, to be fair.
They are very good.
They're super good, dude. They're like Funyuns, but like they give extra. You're also going to see my kids running around.
That's fine.
It's princess time in this house. That's what we're up to.
I'll blur it out. It's fine. I'll find a way to do that.
It's fine, dude. You're okay. You're fine. I'm not worried.
So Rob's had Monster Munch. Aitan, what's
I've been like going to events. I've been doing a lot of traveling. I flew up to see Demetrios up in Scotland. That was fun. And then I came home, and then I went back up to Scotland a week later, and that's it. The corn mill that's sitting outside of Edinburgh. The corn mill that's sitting outside of Edinburgh Airport haunts me in my dreams. I had to burn my clothes. I had to Jesus. God,
it was potent, wasn't it?
Potent was not the word I would use.
After 3 days, I swear I could just smell it in my dreams.
Exactly. I'm happy to say it's been a solid month and a bit now, and the smell of corn is leaving my clothes. So we're doing all right.
Sounds good. Demetrius, you've been busy.
I genuinely didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was like, it's fine. I'll get married, and then I'll run a bunch of tournaments, and then maybe we'll rest. And I run ragged. I am so tired, but it was a great time. The full start to finish 3 tournaments, Edinburgh, Glasgow, and then Edinburgh again for the big one. Tabletop Scotland have been fantastic, and after that, just a bit of R&R. It was my birthday on the 16th, so I went up to the Highlands to relax a bit, and as soon as I'm back, and the first kind of monthly session, the local monthly session is back on this weekend, and we get the FAQ.
Damn right.
Yes, please.
It's a good time. I've done nothing. I've vanished from the face of the earth for a bit.
That's not true. You went up to Scotland.
I went to Scotland. Came third with one box Corvus Cabal. Came third. I lost to Ogres. But it was a good time. It was a great tournament, and it was good to see. Kit was there. It was great. He had to leave early. Got to meet Kip, great guy. But yeah, it's a fun time. Got a little trophy here. Beautiful 3rd place trophy. Sexy as fuck.
I like that. Backwards when you held it up. It was really cool.
Ooh.
Just held it up backwards. Show it the right way.
I thought it was the right way.
No,
on my screen it was. That's backwards for me.
No, I'm looking at it.
Okay.
It is backwards for you because you're trying to show it to other people.
I'm looking at my little screen, my little window.
The guy that looks at the ambulance, and you're like, why did they write it backwards? Doesn't make sense. It's a tough one. It's a tough call, guy. Maybe I don't know what they do over there. Good, congratulations, though. It's sick, though. Dude.
Yeah, good job.
Oh yeah, speaking of Rob, what have you been doing all summer?
Rob,
he's been eating Monster Munch. He filled his box with them, and he's been.
I know he tried to sneak it past. It's just Monster Munch. That's it, nothing else.
Just
someone definitely won Nova. Who was that again?
It was definitely me. That was pre-Monster Munch, though.
Imagine what you can achieve now.
If I could have just ground up and done bumps and lines of Monster Munch, it would have been no contest. I would have been top 1 through 4. Bobby Fischer playing myself over there. Nah, dude, it was an awesome tournament, man. It was a great time. I finished first. My teammates finished second, third, fourth. We swept. It was a great time. It was fun. Very different, unique format. I played the faded and now illegal 2 mega bosses and a brute and a bunch of art boys, and now it's not a legal list anymore. But it was a doozy. We're getting ready to do an IRL tournament in October, and we're just taking back and studying for some exams right now. But kind of a big deal, kind of not.
Kind of sexy. I see. Your first big win, though, isn't it?
That's my first, I guess, what if we want to consider a major of what it is, because we only have 2. We have Adepticon and that. We don't have the luxury of awesome Warhammer events, but I got my plaque. It is going to be backwards, though, so, I mean, keep that in mind. But I got my plaque. The organizer, Justin Smith, on there from Tabletop Beyond did a fantastic job. Great tournament structure. The guy's a great guy. Him and Jason, just shout out to them. They're great people. And that was my first major win, though, other than like some TTS tournaments and some LGS stuff. That felt very exciting. Now I think I'll be coming overseas to you guys next September.
Yeah,
and try to get in there. Yeah, I'm trying to time it. It's supposed to be my honeymoon, but I'm definitely timing it to get there for a day.
I can definitely tell you when next year's Tabletop Scotland is.
When is that? Because we will be in Edinburgh,
September.
and it's in cool, September. That's when I'm going.
Yeah. And you best believe I've already had discussions to have another tournament. So,
but I want to
bring another suitcase, burn your clothes. Jesus, the cornmeal.
we'll get in on the other side, and it'll be fine.
Is there a lot of corn in Scotland? Is that why do you have a corn mill?
It's all they eat.
I mean, to be honest, it's.
I'm trying to figure out why it smells. I've never smelled one. I think this is just Itan being low key taking shots at Scottish.
No. There's some sort of processing thing. Like, to me, it smelled like mac and cheese. So it was definitely some sort of wheat.
We call that a disability, but that's fine.
No, that's the ADHD.
Yeah, that's fair. Someone's like,
not quite the same, right? But near where I live, near Hexham, right? There's a paper factory mill thing.
Those smell terrible.
It sets on fire constantly. It's great. It's like every few months, it's just a raging inferno. It's brilliant.
What is it when you can only smell burnt toast?
It's not a stroke.
A stroke.
Was I having a stroke for the entire time of being in
another disability? We're just going into the realm of mental disabilities at this point. It's better than a mortuary. Been in towns with those. That is a rough smell.
Oh, it's food and animal feeds.
Ooh.
It's a plant.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Mac and cheese, though.
Mac and cheese.
I don't know what kind of mac and cheese you're having.
That's a rough look, dude. It's a rough look.
Anyway, yeah, good. No, it's good you're coming over. I plan to, by the way, either Adepticon or Nova next year. If I get my funds in order, I've got the permission from my wife to go to one of those two. So,
ooh, that's exciting.
Adepticon's going to be in Milwaukee.
Okay.
There are more people at Adepticon. I liked the Nova tournament and structure a lot better.
What's the better, not event? What's the better con to get to?
I was only there for a day with Adepticon. I didn't get to see the convention hall at all, but Nova is a really great con. It was a really good time. There's a lot of stuff there to do. There's a really big vendor hall. There's a lot of activity going on. I'm also partially biased. And it's a DC. So if you like seeing like historical stuff, like you could go in there. There's probably. Also just like,
because we got the Kill Team guy, Can You Roll a Crit, is my buddy, and he goes over every year. And if two of us are going, it's likely I can get Charles over as well. So
I feel like Charles
British invasion. Let's go. Take back the tea.
Not taking back shit. I'll be there.
Bring Monster Munch. Distract them all.
Yeah, that might be. I got 2 bags left. It's a bag of 6 for about 10 10 euros is what it would equate to.
You're rationing that out. That bag is going to last you 5 months.
Bro, I'm like inhaling it. Like I'm just like breathing in the pickled onion fumes. There's not enough in those bags too, man. There's not enough.
Nah, you can get giant versions of the actual crisps called giant claws, and they're
like this big.
Yeah,
wow.
Great.
I'd fucking die.
I feel like we should be playing I Can Show You the World in the background. Just, Disney be damned. Like, I'll just play that when you're telling him about it.
Yeah.
Bro, it was real life, dude. That was real life.
I would also go to Adepticon, but unfortunately, my entire industry's collapsed overnight. And a whole bunch of writers have just been like from across like the video game journalism industry have been let go out of nowhere overnight. So there is no industry left. It's all died.
Workshop seem to be always looking for. They need proofreaders, Toast. They really need proofreaders.
They do. They do. I should push Warp John Bracken.
Where's the editing? The editing crew is like one dude in a basement with a bowl of rice that's like a week old, and they're like, "You don't get more unless you do this." And he's like, "I can't even see straight, guy. I think there's some runes in there, and then there's just a bunch of typos. We're gonna go with this." I'm like, "That sounds fair."
They kind of balked the Ironjawz a little bit with the FAQ runes and stuff, but we'll get to that.
The marks, yeah.
Alex, you've been, we're still in tournaments technically, so
yeah, we're still
Alex, you've been gathering data from across the world about tournaments. What's been going on? None of it's relevant now. There's a new FAQ that's changed.
Yeah, no, right? Like there's no point in actually talking about the results. But no, I have been looking into gathering, now that we have such a great resource in War Tally, which
very good.
I ran all my tournaments through it, and it makes things so easy. So big massive shout out to War Tally. But I've just kind of taken some of the stats from it, and I've also gotten in touch with a few tournament organizers to gather some info, to gather some comments, some kind of more in-depth things, because War Tally has all the practical stuff, but it would be good to have long-term some of the kind of more detail-oriented stuff, like what kind of packs, what kind of missions, what kind of board setups people use, what kind of verticality are we talking about, and stuff like that. So, but I'll start with like a quick overview. Warcry tournaments over the summer, from the 1st of June to mid-September. We had about 35. I've added one. I've added one to take into account the one that happened down in London, because that one didn't happen in War Tally. But very quickly, online, worldwide, we had 9 tournaments. Most of those are the casual and competitive 3H1C tabletop simulator ones. We also had Bash of the Titans as well, which was a bit of a spin on the usual tournaments. And then we had a split, 15 tournaments in Europe, 7 in the United States, 2 in Chile, and 1 in Singapore.
That's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's super cool. It was video that was out a few days ago that was like, "Is Warcry dead?" And I was like, if you're looking at tournament attendance, absolutely no.
Yeah. I think just to add to that as well, when we went to Warhammer World for one of the events a few months back, we talked to John Bracken, who was there, Captain Sweater himself, and he gave us a little tidbit on just how popular Warcry's actually become in terms of its growth. And in terms of like tournament numbers, Warcry is actually the fastest growing game in terms of tournament numbers that Games Workshop have. Now, that's not necessarily a huge compliment, because if no one was going before, having a massive percentage increase isn't that huge in terms of actual raw numbers, but it is positive to see that Warcry is actually growing in some sense, which is fantastic. That's reflected in Warhammer World, because people are going like Wednesday tournaments, which are ludicrous to get to because everyone's working then. But those are still packed.
A Wednesday just as the kids are going back to school. Yeah. Like just like a random Wednesday in the middle of September.
And
I mean, that's a very good point. All of this happened over the summer. And especially in the UK, everyone's out. Everyone's off. Everyone's on holiday. So I kind of said that I wasn't gonna run anything until the new year, but I'm starting to think that maybe I have to cut that short a bit and take advantage of everyone being back, because I mean, the numbers are there. People like playing it. A lot of the new players that have kind of joined have really enjoyed it. How quick the games are, how much depth there is in the list building and all of that, and it's just been a great experience.
Beautiful. So tournaments are all well and good, but FAQ time. FAQ dropped. The Speedmaster himself off Meta dropped like 3 full videos.
Like processes. That's what I've got. Okay.
I imagine him at home like, babe, I gotta talk about this back right now.
Dropping just all the content really lucky, ever, right? Stealing it all.
My wife normally works from home, so there is, and today just happened to be one of the days that she's in the office. So no way I could have got this done any other day.
Today's been magical. Podcast, everything. My wife was at work as well, actually, but I had the 1-year-old, sadly, so I couldn't do any content.
That's your editing
right crew. Now. You've got editing crew?
I gotta start them young.
Yeah, just terrible. FAQ stuff. What are our thoughts? What's our initial thoughts on the FAQ? I think for me, the FAQ is fantastic. But I don't think everything has landed quite so well with the community, although they are mostly positive, from what I've gathered.
Yeah, I'm going to let Rob speak first, in fact. Go for it.
There's always going to be some people that are unhappy. I saw, when I saw this leaked, I just tagged a bunch of people that I don't even talk to, but like people that are really excited about certain models like Malog. I believe overall that like in a sense of like a casual and fun environment, and like you want that depth for list building, bringing down a lot of Bladeborn to offer cool tech pieces is something that's so exciting. And I think a lot of people are really happy to have that one-off, like the Nurgle 3-man fat boy with the fat sorceress.
Fecular flybone.
Yeah, that sounds like diarrhea. So fecular flybone
sounds like a condition.
Yeah, dude, it sounds like someone just gashed a wound and spit in it, and they're like, it's gonna get better. It's a very Nurgle thing to do, right? But no, it's so I think like a lot of people are like stoked about that, and I think a lot of people are just genuinely excited to see like some elves come down and like some things to be flexible to work about. I haven't seen too many rumblings about like competitive things just yet, other than the knee jerk, oh my god, points went up, it's not as good, things that people can't process because it's really hard for people to imagine the grand scope of things, because everything's not always reflexive or symmetrical in nature. Sometimes we can have a little transitivity and be like A equals B, B equals C, so C equals A, and then maybe it's still the same thing, but like who knows, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not wrong. Surprise ending. And there's a lot of good things. One of the biggest divisive things, and like not knocking anyone in particular, like I have no shout outs or anything, but one of the things, like immediately, like my inbox opened up and DMs was like 6 DMs of, oh my god, IJ's is dead, oh my god, IJ's. I'm like, how is it dead? Because I can't do double mega boss. That list should have never have happened to begin with. right? That was I'm at a bar drunk. I ordered an extra Mega Boss, and then that's how that list got started. So that should have never have happened. Number two, you actively increased damage by combining two profiles, put it in line points wise where it should be, gave them an ability to control where a model goes, and then still kept everything else, and then added a new support piece in and new tools to clear horde or to chase elite. But yes, 20 points. Oh my god, they're 100% nerfed, guys. Watch out. I'm going to take it to every tournament now. I'm just going to slam it down people's throats, and hopefully nobody has a good time, and hopefully nobody ever waits again. And then I want to hear somebody say, but it's nerfed. Watch out.
That's the thing, right? Guys. Like the knee-jerk reaction to Ironjawz. When anything's nerfed, people knee-jerk to like, oh my god, this is a nerf. When anything changes, sorry. Right.
I'm sorry, I'm a shill for Ironjawz. I should mention it's oh, thank you. You could. Was that pizza for me? Sorry, I just got offered pizza and then she took it away, so I don't get pizza now. No, I'm a shill for Ironjawz, so like to me, it's like it's a little special place in my heart, but it's also in the same sense like it begs to understand the difference between theoretical and like applying something in a vacuum and seeing it unfold. So like to say something is nerfed is like kind of rough. I guess if you're going from a point standpoint, yeah, if you add points on, it's nerfed. But if it fundamentally changes, is it? Like where you look at the Marauders,
yeah,
right? It's very 70 points. That's a nerf because nothing changed about them. They just got more expensive. Nothing was added. Nothing was like removed except for the fact that it's not. You can't just spam them, which you shouldn't have been, right? So I mean, there's a lot of people like screaming right now, making knee-jerk reactions. I don't think anybody should be making knee-jerk reactions yet until there's data, tournaments, other things run. So I mean, like, but my gut instinct on that is no, they're not nerfed, and now I get to control where your pieces go. So have fun. Sorry, I cut you off too.
Well, with Ironjawz specifically, I think they've received a massive buff. They've changed. They are not the same warband now. They've went from a potential hardy warband into more mid-range. That's a very noticeable change in how they're still going to be built. But they've gained an awful lot on this update. Like the actual, like the art boys are more expensive, but they are better, which is fantastic. That ability is the only push in the whole game, and like people aren't prepared for how good a push is. Pulls are powerful, but pulls require setup. A push requires so much less setup because you can just yeet these guys off objectives without having to move at all, and it's just good stuff. Like the new brutes are fantastic. You've got the Uber Killy brute, who's like a faster moving
the rager.
Yeah,
it's
a faster moving just murder brute. Yeah, and then you've got the Wrecker, who is an absolute chaff blender. That guy just goes in, swings 12 times, and then just spins his flails around and does like 3 damage to everything guaranteed.
It's ridiculous.
Insane.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Can I jump in on that one? Someone's going to say, but yeah, what if they get countered? Well, if you're throwing 6 dice at 4 strength and you're going to, on a unit that hasn't activated and you get countered, you kind of deserve that. But also, that's like super fun.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, like
you also have 25 wounds. Like it's not a Dread Scythe Harridan where you're throwing 6 dice and you have like 5 health, right? It's what 20, 25 wounds. Like these are not.
30, I think he's a brute.
They're brutes. They can take it if they need to. But like, there are so many skills that they have to buff their strength to do all of that. And as you said, Rob, like you just play around it. Like a big reason why Cities of Sigmar hasn't seen as much success is because people just do that with them.
Yeah.
Do it with everyone else as well. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, it really isn't.
Do you guys want to hear the secret of the Brute Wrecker? +1 base damage. Make it a 3/2 damage profile. I'm telling you guys.
Bold. That's bold.
6 attacks at 3/2. You'll be wishing you hit normally.
Yeah. You see a 6 and you're like, shit.
You get punished for crits actively.
Yeah, it's inverse crits, man. But fucking when your base attacks are swinging.
Just +1 strength does it, right? Either +1 strength.
No, man.
+1
base damage.
Move. I'd go with +1 move. Moving 5.
The other like, because unfortunately I'm gonna have to leave, depart early soon because wife coming home and everything. But I want to add in this part. you had Morgoth's Crushers see a change, and nobody knows what they do because they have a useless ability, right? Like they get like an extra attack activation if it's a monster, which is not useless at Warhammer World, right? Like that's dope. But the fact is now you can ally in a brute and then a buddy that's also a brute and get 2 instances of you messing on like Cruel Boys or in like other factions that now need like a big body, and you get a 145 premium, 25 wounds, 5 toughness. So for 360 points, you're getting 60 wounds, 5 T. Like that's wild. And that's also just based in Ironjawz if you want to play around with that too. Like there's other options now other than just I either take brute bosses or I take mega bosses. Now you actually have to think in list build, do I want to play an Ardboy supportive build, or do I want to have a support piece for it, or do I want to do that? Like you can get at me with like whatever you want on it. Like there's way more interesting play styles to them, and ultimately putting them at 100 points is fair, coming from a guy who just won a tournament with 80-point shield boys, that watching people roll well against me and still not lift models and just be like, I can't get through 170 wounds. Right, you can't, and that's why they're horribly annoying. And I just sit there on points and go, okay, like, and now I get to be like, you know what makes Seraphon good? Any other Saurus warriors can just tearing bite you. It's a threat, right? Well, now any of my pieces can push you away or into another piece. So now I have a perceived threat that you don't know. Am I going to wog? Am I going to do messing? Or am I going to push you? And if I push you next to this guy, I can get free damage on you. And then you've already activated, but he hasn't activated. So I just push you in there, and then I get 2 free extra activations. But Toast, that's a nerf. So, I mean, I just like think, let's be creative here, right? Like, I wish I could be here to talk about like Rapusians and Stormcast because I think they're feasting. Like Thunderstrike looks so amazing. Good. You should like, be super happy that you don't have to play Poo Poo Warrior Chamber, and you don't have to be overly a hipster, Demetrios, so you can play something good now, and then it reflects how good of a player you are, and then you're gonna win. That's really cool too. And then Itan will just spooky ghost.
I was winning. And then my list became illegal. What? It'll happen to you. Wait, it did happen to you as well.
Oh, I did.
It doesn't feel good.
I had the spidey sense that this was not. It was too good to be true, and I was like, let's just get it done. But now I have 2 mega bosses, so joke's on you. I have like 2 dinner plates to serve with my guests. We eat a slice.
I have 2 mega bosses unbuilt, and I am looking at our boys in yellow very favorably. But no, you could see it. So when the battle trait came through, right? The battle trait for Ironjawz was very anti-horde, right? Mm-hmm. It was there specifically to deal with hordes. It doesn't make sense to then have that faction. But it doesn't make sense to have that faction. Have like 8, 9 models. Like it just doesn't make sense. So it was just that happened in steps. And the thing is, I think a big takeaway from this is last FAQ to this FAQ was how long?
About 6 months. 5, 6 months.
Yeah, 5, 6 months.
That's starting to become regular, especially if there's like a Meta Watch video coming out.
Yeah.
We're feasting. So that means...
Guys, Warcry is dead. What are you talking about?
Warcry died.
Yes.
Died.
We've seen it. Every 6 months, Warcry is dead. Okay, we are playing Schrodinger's fucking board game at the moment, all right? We are alive and dead at the same time.
Yeah, I think it was someone on the Discord that mentioned that when we used to have a box every quarter, that was too much for people to catch up with.
That was me. I said that.
Yes, you said that.
Yeah, people were complaining. They were like,
100%.
I can't keep up with all of this content that we're getting. I wish there was less content. And then when there's less content, there's no content. So what are we doing?
And the thing is, right, we are still getting content because we got an FAQ with 2 new factions, 3 new factions.
Let's say Ironjawz are basically a new faction now, right? So
let's
say 2.5.
Changed so much. Not even remotely the same anymore.
So that's content. That's new stuff. Like it doesn't need to be a Warcry box. I know people kind of turn to the if you can't buy things for it, then the company will not push it. But like I don't think that's the case because of all the Age of Sigmar stuff that I have, which I've bought specifically for Warcry. So I don't know. And now that like Bladeborn are like sensible prices. There's still ways you can find them. So there were a lot of Bladeborn that were part of the Stormbringer magazine release. I know that I've got Mollog. I know that I'll
bet you have Mollog with that 40 point. John Bracken up there, he's smoking that Mollog pipe. At 40 points.
So I got it because it was really nice to paint.
Oh, really?
And then I saw that and I went,
40 points cheaper.
I'm gonna give you my hot takes before I have to leave, so you could just cut me in at whatever point you want. So the Mollog thing is really sick, and people love that model, and it's got some really unique, cool abilities to play around. Please push that on me. That's the shit I want. But if you're going to sit there and be like I could still say like, hey, if I just want to kill something, I'm going to take a Gutlord for the same price and bless it for an extra attack on top of it and then just walk through you. But like, let's not focus on the issues of that. Let's focus on the fact that like we made a fan favorite playable and competitively a viable choice if you want to ally something in. And that's the real success of this. Are there still issues with the competitive scene? Yeah, there's a competitive scene, right? Like not really. There's some problems, but who cares? There's so many more things for you to have fun with. And if you're going to get caught up in min-maxing that and not having fun with like the friggin' 40 models that were just reduced in price that are all awesome, like somebody out there is going to have Garrick's Reavers and run Arnulf, and it's going to be insanely cool. Is he going to be great? Probably not. But is it going to be awesome? Hell yeah! Like I'd rather put. And then I don't know if you guys addressed the SCE stuff yet, but I think that's such a cool take on how to play the game. Once they iron out some of the other garbage in here, like reclusion is just such a cool way to say you better think about your ranges. You better think about what I have. However, they're also elite. And then you got the Night Quester, not in the Soulsworn Questers, that helps the Soulsworn Questers. So I mean, like, I think it's so awesome. So now push it.
It's so good that battle trait can be dropped for him specifically.
I will drop that battle trait.
Is one of the best battle traits in the whole game. And
yeah, but like,
people going, I want to drop that because this guy's fucking awesome.
Someone's gonna go Super Saiyan with that trait and then miss all their dice and then just stare at it and walk away. Like that's bound to happen, which is fucking crazy.
That's true.
But having something to be like, hey, these guys, like, I only have 2 on the table, but that point, it's my objective. And then you go there and you're like, I have 4 bodies on there. Objective complete for a double, and then you get to do it again next turn. Like it's crazy. It's so cool, and it's good ideas. Liberators, lay low the tyrants, saying, hey, we recognize there's a lot of big boys that are lethal in the meta. We're able to hit you. Also, they just get extra strength and attack against everybody else, which is kind of wild. And the Grand Hammer guy, the Grand Hammer Liberator 150 becomes a 4-6-3-4. That's basically the Quester Hammer. Hell yeah, dude. Let's get yoked. And those guys will keep stuff like IJ in check, because that's naturally like something that preyed on IJ before. But guess what? I could still push them away and just take a point, so it doesn't make a difference to me anymore. Like, no, like, dude, I think it's like all around just like chef's kiss to stuff and change, and like the thought of process of where they want to go. And for anybody thinking it was dead, it was a little dry for a little bit. It felt kind of icky in the summer, but you know what? Like, this is it. If you can't brew with 40 plus models that were just discounted for you or something cool on your shelf, that's on you, dog. Like, you should be everyone here should be happy and excited that like we have some changes, and then the rest will get ironed out over time if we're seeing every 6 months like this. But for now, you got a winter of trying out crazy tech. Also, head racket MVP at 170. I'm gonna see you guys later with that.
It's pretty spicy. It's pretty spicy.
Yeah,
I think with IJ, like, their playstyle's changed. They're now much more of a control warband, but they're so good at controlling everything. It's not like before. I can do hordes.
Still stretched for dice, and your first initial thing. Oh, you have something to say. You're raising your hand for anybody who can't see on Zencaster. Wait your fucking turn. So I'm not done talking. So the best thing is your first 2 turns are usually wogging because you need to get there, and then your second turns are controlling and fighting. In my Nova list, I used you messing exactly 0 times, but I held up the triple to threaten it. right?
Yeah.
So knowing how to play, holding up a triple now is just WOG, are you messing? Now it's where am I going to knock you into? How am I going to do it? And are you able to compete? Because my not even chaff anymore. We're in the Chaos Legionnaire realm of chaff, right? Like 100 points, right? Is 3-4-2-4. I'm going to blend up smaller dudes, no problem, if you want to sit here and fight me, or I'm going to push you into other dudes after I blend you up. Like but they are strapped for dice. And
yes,
honest to God, like your worst roll is like a double 1 or a double 2, and then 4 singles. That's like the one thing you never want to see with them. But they are a control warband. You're 100% right. It's a combat control warband, not like a soul blight. Sorry, Atan, you had your hand up. You waited patiently. This is my TED talk.
So, here's the thing about Ironjawz. Okay, I think that they are basically going to be one of the gatekeepers in tournament play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they are so good into objectives. They beat smaller warbands in objectives. Like Ironjawz, a well-piloted Ironjawz list is going to beat Stormcast every fucking day. Why? Because Stormcast can't hold an objective, because a guy walks up to him and goes, oh, you're on this objective. That's nice. Bang. Goodbye. And you capture it, right? And then on the other side of it, they got you messing. So they're still just as good against hordes as they've always been. You're playing pure Ironjawz at this point, so you get all of the bonuses from that battle trait. Smaller warbands can't wait against you. Bigger warbands can't wait against you. No one can wait against you because you're just running across the board. So I reckon they're going to be one of those warbands that you, like, if they get real popular, and I know, Rob, you're going to go to every single event with them, so those stats are going to be padded. Let's say that.
I hope so. I'm trying, dude. I'm on a mission now. Like at first I was like, I'm going to play something fun with all these things, and then everyone's like, they're nerfed. I'm like, you know what? I got to be obstinate and insubordinate now. I got to just prove I got to just jam it. But I do want to play. I want to play Stormcast. Honestly, they look they look a lot, dude.
Like, they look great, right? I think you're going to need something to beat Ironjawz, or some kind of game plan to beat them, because objective missions are everywhere. You need to build into objective missions, because most packs have like 3 or 4 objective missions built in, right? So you're going to have to bring something. The question is, what is it going to be? And I think most of the time it will be, okay, got my thing against Ironjawz, but a competent Ironjawz player is going to just be like, haha, I have all the tools. Look at this.
Yep.
You still need the dice, and you still need to be playing some, like, you messing only works on anything under 15. So Quest or Soulsworn are all 20 plus.
Yeah, that's why they got Shield Bash.
Yeah, Shield Bash. You eat them as a fight.
Yeah,
no, but that's fine. But you eat one, and then the other 3 on the point, can still count for extra. Also, the Grandhammer Thunderstrike, now Liberator, will be absolutely bashing through them because they're all 20, not 25. So, and like the smaller dudes are like, smaller dudes.
Somehow I don't think comparing. How much is the Grandhammer Liberator?
150?
150. Okay, sorry. So we're talking about 1.5 guys. Oh yeah, my Mega Boss is going to smash my way through those Tarantula Brood Spiders because hey, of course he will, because he's 50% more points.
Also, for the record as well,
the Ironjawz player's been in 2 guys, 3 guys for every one of your 1 or 2.
The best part with the whole Liberator, any sort of Kelly thing, is that the Ard Boy will not move into you to attack you. No. So you have to burn a whole action to go to him. So you're doing half the damage you want to do, and then I will smack you for 6 attacks, chip you down, then smash you away. So you have to then move in again next turn, and then you're going to lose that grind probably, or take massive damage trying to do it. Right. And if there's if people start bringing the the Ard Boy Big Boss, where you start taking damage from this shit,
he's good.
Like you take like a flat 6 damage plus 6 attacks. Like
I call him
like
Green
in a vacuum. I don't think that the Stormcast really have what it takes to brawl that kind of fight.
They wouldn't, but you are back into 6-7 models now. If you want to bring something like a Mega Boss.
Mega Boss puts you at 6 to 7. So if you're going the Mega, well, that's not true. I did Mega Boss, Ard Boy, Big Boss, and then 6 Ard Boys. So we're at 8. at 1,000 even, right? So you could still get 1,000 even Stevens right there, and everybody still has knockarounds. Everybody's like, and that's what's 6 times 15. I'm not a mathematician here. We're doing it right now. Live math, guys. 6 times 15.
900.
That's 90, not 900.
900 wounds.
900
Right,
wounds.
90. Yes.
So then plus, how many is the Ardboy Big Boss?
25.
25, I think.
So I'm gonna get 100. I'm still gonna get 150 wounds out of that list. So I mean, is it my 170 that I have now? It's not. It's like effectively down that brute body, but I'm not going to complain if I'm able to just smash dudes away. And
there's so many options. Like you could drop the big boss entirely for a regular brute. Yeah. You could take a.
I think you take a normal brute.
There's all kinds of great things you can do.
A regular Ardboy boss now at 140 is an anchor at like 25 wounds with 5 toughness. Now it's not as killy with the 2.5 as the other guy was, but like heck, that doesn't matter when you're able to wog, you're able to knock away, you're able to just be 25, and you could bring that ally that in for like $140, $145. Like that's insanity. That's so insanely good and strong. Like, and that's awesome. Like, you're right. The Stormcast will have a difficult time with that because it's only because the battle trait says I can wait and you can't. But like if a Reclusion like hot drops in me and then moves on me with the double, and then like all of a sudden it's swinging, 5 dice at, or what is it? X strength, 5 dice. No, it's 1 move and then half strength. So 4 dice at 6, like they're hitting on 3s at 3/6 with 4 dice. Like you still need a double swing, but I'm just going to knock you away and you have to do it all over again. Like, and you can't do it that many times. And if you want to react to cancel out my knockaway, then I'm still getting an activation up on you. And then like you're still not double swinging.
Griff crows, man. Griff crows.
The griff
has to be a mistake. I'm going to die on this hill, right? I think that was a mistake in the writing. I think, like most other weird shit like this, that Griff Crows should have had a thing in there saying that beasts couldn't do the fucking reaction.
Oh, please.
They didn't put that in there.
Dogs have enough sense to fly backwards when they get attacked. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the Griff Crow should be able to react, because then you just spam that as a battery.
They're fine.
Yeah.
That was an oversight for sure.
They are 6 wounds, toughness 3. They will die.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's no. Because if you look at like Eggrots, like the conspicuous little turd dude, but then they're sitting there chipping you down for 2-4 damage or a net. We know how that goes. So then you put your dogs in positions of bubbles of 6, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm just going to react and say you can't do it. And like,
sure, you know what the difference is between Egg Grot and Griff Crow? His friend isn't 150 points that he has to bring with him.
Beast knobs are
Oh, beast! Oh, sure, yeah. My entire warband of beast knobs. But still, no, I get the point.
Actually, I like the design space we're in.
Yeah.
With a lot of the things that Games Workshop have been doing recently is making a whole lot of really, really cool triples. And then just packing warbands with triples that are all good and going, fucking pick one, have fun. And they're all like game-changingly good. The Order of Azir, they only have triples basically, right? That's Dark Oath are heavy triple. These guys, Ironjawz have 3 triples that are all amazingly powerful. And you've got to dedicate yourself to like one style per turn and hope you've picked the right one at the right time. It's a wonderful, tactical option to mess with, and it makes triples valuable, which triples really weren't for a lot of warbands. Because, if I've got a triple, I'll just make it a quad because Rampage is so good or whatever. Or I won't bother upgrading my doubles because there's so many bad triples. But now there's so many really good triples. It's wonderful. Love it.
Yeah, totally.
Rob's vanished again.
Rob's been eaten by the dog.
I think that's
it was his dog.
So what was I going to say? So a quick word about the update as a whole, right?
Yes.
I think regardless what's in the update, and personally I think it's great. I like the fact that they finally addressed this Bladeborn problem. You know, these old Bladeborn where previously the only way you could get their rules was in Tome of Champions 2021 or wherever it was. And it's like, is it part of the game? Is it not part of the game? I don't know, maybe. Now we know it is. That's fine. They're brought up to date. That's fine. That entire argument disappears. And we get all the stuff up to Scaventide. That's also great. Why do I think it's great? It's because Bracken didn't sit there and lie to us.
That Meta Watch.
It's massive, right? He came on and he went on the Meta Watch and he said, right, this is what we're going to do. We are going to release anything in Age of Sigmar, anything for Underworlds. You guys are going to get it. It might take a while, but you guys are going to get it. And it was like 6 months since the last one. And if this continues, and every 6 months, they take a look at a big part of the game, right? So the first time, it was the big overall balance patch. Second time, they looked at all the old Bladeborn. Next time in March or whenever it's going to come, that's just 6 months from now. I don't know what they're going to look at. But if every time they do a big, maybe bespoke, who knows? They do a big old change, add in all the warband or add in all the fighters between the last one and now. That's a really good place for the game to be in, I think. I was making icons, right? Because I make icons for the videos. There are now 63 factions in this game. It's ridiculous.
It's too many.
You do a kill team, right? Kill team, they killed half of them, right? So, and people are still
I think that's going to be really interesting. Yeah, I think that's going to be really interesting.
They're like, oh man, we need new warbands. We don't have enough warbands. I'm like, you got 63 of them. Pick one. When you can't find a playstyle that you like.
We all know that those 63 are not all built the same. Right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point
is matter.
There are so many warbands now.
Nonsense.
There are so many warbands now, right? That Games Workshop could literally, for the next, I don't know if there's going to be a new edition. I don't know when there's going to be a new edition. From now until then, they could spend the next 3 years, 5 years going back, taking 2 or 3 of those factions, revamping them like they did Flesh Eater Quartz, put some cool things in here like they did the Ironjawz. They could do that for the remainder of the game, and I'd be happy.
That's fine too, but they have to catch up the philosophies of old things, because there's some shit right now that's currently like not letting new stuff breathe, right? Like we got rid of FFP and like 510 goddamn like Hammer of Dawn from Gears of War blasting people off the goddamn thing. Now we got to start addressing some of the bigger things when like that stuff got like I don't want to go too far into this because like I really love what this fact did and offered so many cool thematic things, but like they do need to address like the fact that lethality is crazy right now. So many of my answers are just like throw a Tyrant at it, throw a Mega Boss at it, throw a Gutlord at it, throw like a Croc Score. Not even, because Croc Scores don't have a bonus move or anything that kind of facilitates that maneuver, so they're a different piece. So they're also not allyable, so it's a little bit more fair. But like there are things like this. Like everybody's like, isn't this great? Sure. Shrike Talon. You're like the kid that's like, it's like, hey, I'm gonna come over and hang out. Is your brother okay today? And you're like biting the wall and you're just like Shrek, and then jumping off counters. Like that's you at the Shrike. That's cool as hell that you could surgically annihilate something. But there's just still like there's like a big play factor, and you're also a good player, so like you don't like you're not gonna get tripped up around stuff like that. But like if I'm like Johnny Bobani coming in with my 1 box of Rotmeyer Creed, and then I'm like, I'm gonna have a great day, and then someone's like, check out these double Gutlords, and you're just like, I have 5 less models this turn. It's gonna feel terrible. And I think big things should exist, but like not to the point where it smothers out so consistently a lot of things that are happening right now.
Right, I think so. After April, there was a push towards smaller warbands, right?
And I'm listening. I'm taking you. Yeah.
He should be listening. So after April, there was a push towards smaller warbands.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Which is exactly what Games Workshop wanted, right? They were like, Swarm is too big. This is an issue. We want to make smaller warbands, mid-range, more elite warbands. We want them to be viable. The problem is, what's the natural counter to mid-range warbands? You throw a Gutlord at it. You throw a Tyrant at it. All these big, super damaging pieces, they will pull apart mid-range warbands, and they should, because that's totally what they're there for. The natural counter to them should be whether it works in practice or not, is swarms, right? It's like a rock paper scissors,
Yeah.
a rock paper scissors style thing. So I'm not so concerned about that. I just think that there has to be a way to run a quote unquote swarm warband in a way that's totally non-toxic.
RBF does it completely fine,
sure,
because they're not fucking abusing res mechanics.
Yeah, and that is what is keeping all this big stuff in check, while mid-range should happily be able to wail on them.
Sure.
If Beast Slayers is what I haven't played a lot of Beast Slayers. I played very little Beast Slayers. Right?
They can hit a good like 10+ number. It feels like a fun, challenging positional battle with them. Right now, 8 wounds is kind of scary to bring because there's so many things that can reliably move 10 wounds.
Yeah.
So I mean, if ghouls were 10, same thing with like Fek2, right? Brilliant design, right? 8 wounds is just too easily killed by a lot of things, and it's scary at this point to have that reliability. Even when I had stab grots or egg grots, like I know they're gonna just most likely disappear. Like that's gonna be their roles, to give me a reaction, stay on a point, tie something up. But like it's too easy to remove that stuff. And then you had Soul Blight, which made Unfeeling Flesh an issue for swarms. So the swarm ideology is correct, and I do think that there should be room for horde control, but you have to monitor the mechanics that get put alongside it. Recursion horde is dangerous because then you just constantly net shit over in a game where you have limited activations and you have dice that are not reliably re-rolled. So you have this ability where it's like, okay, now take this Gravelord again. Doesn't matter. You're going to spend an activation to kill him, and you don't have any extra bonus, anything to move. That was an issue, and that really was like just, it felt smothering to play against. And that's what it should be, right? The feel of death should be an inevitable grind against it. And they got that, but to the point of where it's like, I'm going to fly 16 inches with this big stupid thing, and then I'm going to drop the body off over here and take the point, and you have no counterplay. That's where it became an issue. So if you want that swarm, they have to work on the philosophy of how do we want swarm to work, because they got mid-range nailed pat. Now you got to work on your bigs and your smalls, and then get them in line to have like a healthy rock, paper, scissors shoot. And honestly, put a lot of stock into abilities. Make abilities fun, dude. Like these abilities we're seeing now are great fun. Skaven, I haven't talked about them. I'm gonna disappear before that because I hate them, but fun. IJ, fun. Reclusions, fun. Thunderstrike, guys, and they're cool.
I've talked about this.
I will have to bid you guys adieu, though. Unfortunately, I have my wife coming home tomorrow. Is my 9-year anniversary, and I kind of want to be present for this evening.
Well, happy anniversary!
Thank you. It feels like I feel like it's been like a year, and then like I have like a whole family, and I'm tired. So
I was gonna say time flies when you're having fun, but
it's a lot of fun, but it hasn't been easy. It's been tough as shit though. But we're and that's where we're going for our anniversary next year. So over you guys. So like, enjoy yourselves. I'm sorry that I have to dip out. I love this. I could do this for like 3 hours with you guys easily. Every time.
Right, shoot now so we can.
All right, I got some pizza. No, thank you guys, dude. I had a blast. Is this actually official, or is this like still in leaked?
Oh, it's all official.
It's official.
Oh, so okay.
Here's the thing,
right? It was on Games Workshop's old website. This is what I think. This is what Charles says, and he's like my tech guy. It was on their website. They migrated everything over, and everything got dumped in, and it just like, ooh, it was in there already.
I've never seen more inept people at running a website.
It's
like
their website.
We're just getting.
It's not just the website. Let's be honest. Anyways,
most things, sadly.
And like John's a phenom mentally. Like hats off to that guy for having a vision and trying to save this shit. But like, fuck, man, dude. Like it said 9/17. I'm like, we were supposed to get this 9 days ago. Like, okay.
Yeah, I think they had a date for it, but then when they migrated everything over, it's like, oh yeah, it's here now and everything's automatic.
But it's like active though. Like it's official. We could just play with this, jam this. I'm gonna jam this in November League. As long as I pass my test, I'll probably compete in that and then run Ironjawz until everybody fucking hates me.
I'm gonna run Warrior Chamber just to.
So many people are gonna hate me. Like I've already told people, I'm like, you're objectively wrong, and they're like, it's not bad. I'm like, no, you're objectively wrong. I'm gonna win tournaments with this now. Like I'm gonna do it. Right. Yep. Thank you for giving me more tools. All right. Bye, guys.
So Rob's gone.
He's gone finally. God.
Fucking hell. That guy. Fuck
Rob.
me. Anyway.
Right, so we talked Ironjawz.
We talked a lot about Ironjawz.
We had a bit of a talk around Bladeborn.
All right, you know what I'm excited about? Let's talk what I'm excited about. Okay.
Go on.
Dark Oath. I think from a design, Toast has just had a out-of-body experience.
It's so good. So exciting.
I am so excited for how they designed the whole, like, the idea that... So one thing that another thing that I think is really good about this update, right, is you look at Reclusians, Ruination Chamber, you look at Dark Oath, Games Workshop are messing around with mechanics and different kinds of mechanics for their warbands. Dark Oath have the whole, okay, well, I'm going to react when I die. I'm going to get doubles back. I'm going to use an ability. I'm going to get myself favored. When I kill a thing, I'm going to get noticed by the gods. All my abilities get better when I'm noticed by the gods. So they got that. That's new. We've never seen that before. And you've got the Ruination Chamber, which has the whole Memorian token thing, but not one. They got two kinds of tokens. They got one more. I can't remember the name of the other guy, but I think they got one more thing.
It's like negate damage stuff.
The dice, they got the tokens that can ignore damage, and then they got tokens.
Oh, yeah. They've got themselves a ward save, which is
they do, right? But this is all new stuff. No other warbands work like this, and I find that super exciting because it means that we're finally stretching out from the whole. I think they've basically exhausted the whole. Okay, what has my guy got? He's got a net. Okay, he's got a damaging thing. He's got a triple
for +1 attacks within 6 to 8 inches.
Yeah, I killed a guy, so I get either a move or an attack. We've seen it. We've seen it 100 times.
No, Dark Oath has such a cool design kind of idea of you have all of your abilities.
They've been waiting for months. They've been waiting.
You've got your abilities, and then you have either favored or not, and the favored bonuses are good enough. Yeah. The only thing I'm afraid of with the Dark Oath is you don't just want your leaders to be favored. You want some of your chaff to be favored. Sure. And I don't know if there's enough. It seems to me like this is very much you take this and you throw it at Flesh Eater Courts, or you throw it at some like Tarantula's Brood.
Something that's easy to kill.
Something that's easy to kill, so you can get favored people and then just kind of really leverage that on the later parts of the game. That's why you get all of the abilities. If Ironjawz are going to elite, if there's a lot of like push up, so unless there's a reason to play more Swarm, I think they might not find their place in the meta. But they're so thematic. I like them so much.
I think that really they have ways of playing into elite real easy, right? The Wilder Fiend will knock over like wheat in front of just disappear. Sindri, they haven't learned their lesson.
They've
never learned their lesson. Okay, a strength 4 ranged attacker with a 2/4 damage profile, +1 strength, becomes strength 5. Suddenly it's winning on 3s, and with Sindri's machine gun ability is just wow. It's kind of wild. It will do damage, Sindri, and she's not even that expensive. She's 220 points blessed up.
The combo is bringing Sindri and Gunnar Brand, because with Gunnar,
I don't even think you need Gunnar. I think Gunnar's weak.
If you get him into combat, then Uncanny Shot isn't half the value of the dice; it's the full value, and it affects both attack actions.
Yeah.
So she can go all the way to 14 shots and just point blank shot, like whatever the fuck, like Gunnar's in combat with.
Wait,
if
isn't it 16? If you've got 666, it's
you get six shots onto her too.
It is 16. You're right. Yeah, it's 16
it's wild.
Yeah.
Strength 5 for damage.
Yeah, if only hits, 32.
Yeah, at strength 5, basically, because she's always going to be strength 5 because you're always going to buy the strength.
Yeah.
25 wounds, movement 10, like
movement
should
10.
get anywhere. Yeah.
She's crazy for all kinds of things, and it's so good. It's so good. And obviously she can easily proc Oath of Murder because she's killing chaff from a bajillion miles away. She's got an 18-inch range and a 10-inch movement. The fuck's that? She's sniping. She can snipe off things like the Quiet Pox. She outranges most things with good range attacks in the game. It's ridiculous and has better like actual defenses. It's crazy good.
So yeah, I think Dark Oath can definitely play into mid-range, right? They can even put like bodies on the table. You bring a basic War Queen and a bunch of Marauders. Suddenly, the War Queen pops her triple. They're all getting a free move within 6 inches, which is mad amounts of action economy. That's fantastic. Or if you're playing into Horde, like if let's say you're playing into a Horde heavy pack, you throw Tanari on the table. Tanari will eat entire deployment groups by herself with her ability. I think the thing I really like about Dark Oath, and it's what you said, right? They have like 1,000 triples, and all the triples are good. So it becomes I want to say deck building, but we're not playing a card game. It's it's a list building challenge, right? You think, okay, what am I going to face? There is a tool for it, but what I have to bear in mind is that tool is toughness 3, and that tool will die. So they're like a whole list of scalpels and the Wilder Fiend.
So
just for the record as well, we're clumping in Brand's Oathbound and the Dark Oath into one. They are technically 2 separate warbands, but they do share.
But they share the Darkness faction, so you can bring Gunnar Brand and his. And
they are. They are in the same.
Because they're not Bladeborn. They're not Bladeborn. Importantly, so you can't ally in Singri at all because you can't just take Gunnar and then Bladeborn the fuck out of it. So
no, listen, man, they've avoided a Chaos Quiet Pock, so I'm happy.
Yeah,
definitely. I'm a huge fan of the new Dark Oath. New models as well are fantastic. It's a real shame that they didn't find some way to group in the Dark Oath Savages with some of the effects. Even just the War Leader ability to make Dark Oath move. It would have been quite nice to have a bit of Dark Oath support. We've got Questor support now, so having Savage Hour support would have been quite nice. Tie them all in a little bit, but it is what it is.
So
a huge fan that they didn't clump this in with Slaves to Darkness.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Big
there's too many profiles. Like, can you imagine if they added all of these profiles in? Like, it would have been terrible. But the thing is, the thing that I really like about this, and this might be me hoping for more than we might get. Battle Traits gave Ironjawz the whole thing about not waiting. And then on the next update, we get almost a final version of that, which is pushing them to Elite. That completes that part, right? So how many more of these are we going to see? How many bits of design in this are just step 1 for a larger plan that might happen over the next 2 or 3 updates? That's one of the things that makes me really happy about seeing this FAQ. The fact that they have things that they've closed design-wise, and then there's others that seem sort of open. Because now we're like, Liberators moving into Thunderstrike. Where does that leave the old Liberators? Where does that leave Warrior Chamber? Where does that... Even if it goes, it at least shows that there's some things that are open. And that means that there's going to be something else, maybe closing them, and maybe it's not going to close them in the way that we think. So it's just exciting to not just see things being added in, but you can see steps being taken to continue improving. And I just really love that bit.
It's pretty good.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's other stuff in mind. Slaves to Darkness are getting their AOS book further down the line.
Yeah. I think
this would be a great time to look at them.
Sure. If you want to see what the future of Warcry looks like, look at the roadmap for Age of Sigmar. Look at the books that are coming out, because they'll all have accompanying models. And if they do a Flesh Eater Courts or an Ironjawz on every single one of those factions, I think we're absolutely fine, right? Next one's what? Skaven? Yeah. I think Skaven's out like tomorrow or something, whenever we're recording this. I'm like with those Skaven models that they've added, I like the direction that Skaven is going. There have been complaints saying, oh, they added these in, but they didn't tackle everything else. But my feeling is that there's so much new stuff coming in that Skaven book that it will be like, okay, well, like, I mean, because Skaven's going to be a huge, or if it happens, it'll be a huge update. I counted something like just the clan models. If you have a basic guy, the leader of the unit, and a hero, that's like 12 fighters already, not including anything else. It's going to be massive. And balancing all of that, I think, like at the moment, Skaven are kind of in this weird place where you feel like they're supposed to be this tawdry warband, but they're not. So I think if they get that right for Skaven, I'm going to be super happy. I like the direction. You know?
I would love, as a side note, I would love if because there's a lot of Skaven profiles, and they're adding more guaranteed to add more in another FAQ, right? I would love if they split Skaven into their clans.
No more factions. No
more factions. Have 4 or 5 Skaven warbands.
Would you take 100 profiles in that faction, or 20 factions with like 5 profiles each? Which would you rather fight?
You know what I think you could do? If they're going in the realms of new mechanics, they could totally do something like, okay, here's your basic clan rat, and you say, this is a Scryer clan rat, a Molder clan rat, whatever, and you pick kind of like a Mark of Chaos, right? For other for what Chaos have, not in Warcry, but in other places. And that might be a way to cut down the raw amount of stuff that has to go in that. And it's like, okay,
this is 4 battle traits, and you've got to pick a battle trait.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, a battle trait would be a great way to differentiate in faction. Because you have battle traits for order, you have battle traits for the Grand Alliances, and then you have one further down, and it would be a way to like group different factions into kind of sub factions, and then that gives you a bit of potential for kind of synergies. So, especially in Skaven, like they have the battle trait where they can bring back anything under 70 points. So. Not everything, but they can bring a model under 70 points back every round, I think. So make that into a swarm playstyle, and then have a different one where it's like the big boys, Clan Molder for Rat Ogres, or whichever one is the...
Yeah, it's like your... Okay, yeah, I get it. So it's like your stuff with the Beast Room mark gets real good, or you go Pestilence, your stuff with the Frenzied room mark, if that's a room mark that they want, gets real good, and then it would encourage you to bring specific clan troops.
Yeah.
Or something.
Or it would also give you like something to build if you're going for more thematic, if you're going for more narrative. Because as much as we enjoy going in and looking, but as much as we go in and we enjoy looking at 200-300 profiles, and then we sit and we open up Excel and we start going through it, and we build our teams. From talking to a lot of new players, they'll come in and they'll look at all the profiles and go, where do I start? And I'm like, play what you like. And that's and then you get teams like the Double Blood Knight, which is fantastic. But that's a whole other tangent that we're not starting now.
Little side tangent, actually, Blood Knights, right? I waited my entire life, right? My entire Warhammer Fantasy life for plastic Blood Knights. They then nuked Fantasy from orbit, and then we got Blood Knights later on. They're plastic now, and I missed out on it in my youth. It makes it so sad because we're really expensive now.
They also cost £1,000.
They cost £1,000 to begin with anyway. They're cheaper now than they were.
Well, yeah. Even when they were metal, they cost £1,000. God.
No, ridiculous. Who our child to us couldn't afford them.
Right. So what else?
Ruination Chamber, right?
Ruination, yeah. Reclusians, my God. Look,
big lads, new boys in the block.
Reclusians, they're all here.
Love it. Yeah. I have them built, not painted, but I have them built.
Oh, everyone's got them built, Demetrios.
Yeah, that entire box. No, but that's the thing. Like, I think it might be the first box that I actually got on release.
Yeah.
And between the Night Quest store and the Reclusion Chamber, I genuinely think, I'd like. It was value for money for the amount of games I'm going to have.
Yeah,
I've got games in Edinburgh and Glasgow this weekend, and I'm going to show up with like 5 warbands. I'm just going to be like, "Hi, we're trying a bunch of stuff today, and we're going to see what sticks." It's going to be great.
Like, I'm looking at the Ruination stuff, right? Just the profiles at the minute, and like, there's not a single profile I don't like legitimately really, really like. They're all just really cool, right? The base Reclusians are tanky as all hell. They hit like a truck. The Griff Crows are like mega cheap. Like, they're the cheapest Stormcast model ever, which is stupid at 60 points. Super like, reasonably priced flying guys, giant Griff Stalker, like 38 wounds, 3/6 damage murder hobo. Like, and then their abilities. Their abilities are insane. They're all
I love the abilities, but
stupidly good.
Can we talk about the toughness 4, 15 wound prosecutor 180?
Yes.
Is the only thing that I'm like.
You know why? Do you know why it's 180 points? Because if it was toughness 5, 20 wounds, you'd be paying 220, 230 for them. The only way to keep them cheap is to cut stats. You can't just like say, "Oh, it's a Stormcast, it's flying, it's going to be 180 points," right? Because flight does cost. What's shield? So it's toughness 3 basic. So it's got thin armor.
Wings. He has hollow bones. He's a bird.
Hollow bones. Yeah, he's got hollow bones. He's also got a teleport. What more do you want?
No. That's fair. Like my point is, I take your point that I don't think that's
the only way to do it.
Priced correctly. I know what you mean. Yeah, it just feels bad because it doesn't make sense with the world. But you know, sometimes you have to like make some compromises.
I mean, to be fair, though, if you look at like a Liberator, they're like 20 wounds with toughness 5. They don't have to fly, right? Like that should be heavy. Sure. Yeah. That's heavy. They've got to cut down somewhere, right, to be able to like take flight.
Therefore, hollow bones. Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's it.
That makes sense.
Everyone is Corvus Cabal. That's it. This is what we've learned.
So also, this guy gets murdered by a Shrike Talon in one attack action. It's beautiful.
Follow-up question: why don't they use the same bones as the actual skeletons that are also toughness 4? The Soulblight skeletons.
Because Sigmar and Nagash, they got a thing going on, okay, right? Like Sigmar said, "Oh mate, I'm gonna keep these." Nagash was like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna keep the bones. I want the souls too." Didn't work out. That's why. That's it. They can't use Soulblight skeletons, right? They are naturally toughness 3 with shields. Become toughness 4. Makes perfect sense.
Makes sense to me. But on to abilities though, right? Their reaction. Jesus Christ. Sigmar be damned. What the fuck is this shit? That is crazy good.
You want to
being able to shut down abilities.
Yeah.
Potentially board wide, if we look later on.
Okay.
Is crazy powerful.
You know why I really like
Value 3 Rampage? Not my watch.
Nope. Okay. Shut that shit down.
Right. They don't have any action cheating. So this is a way for Games Workshop to say, okay, I've got a mid-range warband. It's going to be 7 guys, but it's not gonna. I'm not gonna have to stuff it full of action cheating like Questos Soulsworn or whatever just to make it function properly. It's saying, right, we're going to work in a different way. I'm going to turn off your abilities, and that's how I'm going to gain value over you. I'm going to make you waste your dice just to be able to keep on going. Because let's say you're playing against Ironjawz and you do have your dogs, you turn off their shield bash, suddenly a Reclusian can happily go 1-to-1 against an Ironjawz if he's not getting punted away. That's absolutely. I mean, and right, sure, it costs 50 points more, whatever. But it's a similar kind of principle, right? If your opponent has a mad rampage and you turn that off, the amount of value that you gain from turning off an opponent's rampage is way more value than you would get from just like, oh, I'm gonna get an extra move in, right? And that's kind of how they're doing this, and I like that. It means that the game doesn't just evolve into how many extra actions or extra abilities or extra whatever can I get off. So that's why I really like that as a design mechanic.
Yes, that they are unbelievably tanky. Like the defense, the tanky warband, like a tanky control warband done again in a completely unique way. They fuck you up in completely unique ways, and it's great. There's so many new mechanics within the Ruination, and it's wonderful to read through because nothing else plays like them. They are so much fun. They are awesome. They're not just another Warrior Chamber or Thunderstrike.
Yeah, it's all hard hitting without it seeming unfair. There's no 4/8 profiles, but you're rolling a lot of dice.
Yeah.
And you can buff the strength. You can make sure that the stats are on your side because you've got toughness 6, you've got 20 wounds, 25. You can turn off abilities so that your opponent can't play around with the maths. And then you go in and you buff your strength, you hit on 3s. If you're already hitting on 3s, you give them even more dice. A Reclusian Prime or a Lord Terminus with Onslaught, 10 dice for 3 damage each.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice stuff.
They're consistent, right? They don't spike high, but the damage they do with a 3/5 damage profile, 4 attacks base is real good.
Like they can tank other Horde warbands, and they can punch through. So they can tank other elite warbands. They can punch through Horde warbands, and they can scrap reasonably well with mid range as well. But because they can't cheat anything in for movement wise in faction without having to ally stuff in. They're slow.
Well, they get a teleport.
Apart from their fast moving thing, they've got a teleport, I guess.
No, but like in faction, slow, their battle trait because they get the Stormcast one, they get a teleport.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Oh but my god, yeah, so good.
That's not going to stop you from a Horde played correctly.
Sure.
Because they don't have the bonus action economy stuff on their side, a Horde played correctly will lock them out. However, it's not. I don't think it's gonna now feel unfair. Because play Warrior Chamber, you've got a lot of kind of bonus stuff, but if you don't have the pieces you need to be able to get all of these bonus moves, and you get kind of locked down with chaff that isn't trying to kill you, it's just trying to stop you, it feels horrible. But it's great. It's great to see something that's like very clearly defined, and it's going to be fun to play, and it has a very clear way to play against it. And that's what we want. Nice, well-balanced stuff that is fun.
Yep.
100%. It's beautiful stuff. I think finally, because we've talked about the FAQ, there hasn't been much changes in terms of rules, but there is one we've missed. I think this is quite possibly the most substantial rules change we've ever seen.
You mentioned the crows again, I swear to God.
The Shrital, no. The Grimhold Exile got a rather substantial...
I'm going to punch you and you're going to die from it.
Yeah, so it was a very small change. It went from 30... So how it works is you do next to no damage unreliably on a triple, or you do shit tons of damage very reliably if they've got a lot of wounds. It used to be 30 wounds. It's now been reduced to 25, which is substantial because a whole lot of stuff dodges 30 wounds.
Yeah,
a whole lot of stuff dodges 30 wounds.
Those Orc heroes we just spent an hour complaining about with 25 wounds.
Those Croxagore are now in danger. The Therodons and Thoricons are in danger. Nearly all of the Ruination Chamber are in danger. And basically, this ability is the Flame Seekers, the bespoke fire slayers, have this as a quad with no restrictions. But it's a very powerful quad that does close to like 15, 18 damage. This is slightly less reliable, but you're still looking at like 12, 15 damage when you pop this off. And no one wants to take 15 damage on their models, especially when this guy comes in with another like 10 attacks, right? He's got a fairly hefty attack profile himself. Dude's kind of crazy for 165 points. Kind of like him. I would consider, if you were to play Fire Slayers, which is unlikely because they're terrible, but if you do, Rainbow Exile is kind of cool. It's kind of cool now. I like him a lot.
Well, he's a tech piece, right? If you know you're going into, if you go to play in like Poland or whatever, where they love the big smashy things, you bring that Exile with you if you're playing Order. Why not?
Yeah,
so
pretty funky.
I have news.
Ooh.
Muzzle
tough.
I got a hold of some Fire Slayers from a friend that was getting rid of them, and now that I look at the model, I have this model. So this is exciting news because
it's the old White Dwarf model, right? Is that the one we're talking about?
The Grimhold Exiles. It's like a recycled White Dwarf, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the White Dwarfs that they repainted.
Yeah, love it. That's so interesting.
Did we tap into the Night Questor at any point?
We have talked about Night Questor, yes.
Dude's kind of crazy.
The only thing we didn't talk about is there's been a couple of changes to battle traits, but I'll let you.
Battle traits. Do we have to? Are we going to rant about battle traits? Is this what we're going to do?
No. But you see, I made a video yesterday as of recording, and I said with my whole heart, full chested, that the Corvus Cabal battle trait will change, and it will change to this. I even put up my wording for it in my video of what it will be based on other Corvus Cabal stuff. Because I did a short on this as well, and people were a little bit like, that's not how it works. That's ridiculous. And I've been proven correct. The Corvus Cabal has been changed to my exact wording.
I mean, it was
the day after my video.
It was very clear how
it was extremely obvious.
Yeah. It's shooting yourself in the foot when you call something falling that doesn't cover all instances of falling. So when you call falling only when you get thrown, when you get defenestrated, right? Then when you jump and fall down, suddenly that's not that. It was really funny, to be honest. And I'm happy that they fixed it because I've played a couple of games beyond watching you play. I've seen people. It's one of my 4 warbands that I take to demos. It's them. It's Iron Golems. It's the Quester Soulsworn, and I think I also take Signs of the Flame. And people really, as soon as you explain the mechanics, you see a lot of people who do play war games, immediately they'll go start perching. And it's just really fun. Works with questionable accuracy and success, but it's a fun thing because it leads to good pictures for me, and it leads to a fun game for them. Because it's a very clear cause and effect. If I climb and then I jump down and hit you, I have a lot better
I get a
probability
bonus.
of actually doing some damage. So it's quite fun.
Quite legit now. They're really good.
I'm very tempted.
They're fantastic.
It's one of the warbands I'm going to play. Because
you should.
I feel like everyone else has played my Corvus Cabal more than I have. Because I take them. I take them all the time to stuff like that, and So
I used your Corvus Cabal to come third in your tournament. It was brilliant.
It was pretty great.
Beautifully painted too.
Thank you. They're not finished yet, but they're good enough for the tabletop. But yeah, it was quite nice. And we always love it when bespokes get a bit of love. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah, they've received a lot of love as well. Specifically, nothing else has. It's just Corvus.
It's almost like there's a fan somewhere who's perched
John
on
loves
Bracken's shoulder.
Scape, we haven't talked about Skaven much, actually.
Good.
Skaven, a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about the sniper, though.
The
longest ability in Warcry is huge. It's 3 paragraphs.
You need a thesis in classical English just to understand how to read, not even to read it, how to read that.
And the ability is kind of shit too. It's great. It's not even that good. It's a lot of words for like you kind
not
of
all that much.
You reduce their toughness, but also the rest of the ability doesn't actually care about that toughness reduction, and also you yeet yourself back like 6 inches. So you can't shoot again.
Have to be okay. There's a weird trick to this, right? So
a rat behind him.
No, there totally is. It's like the knockback on the ability isn't tied to the guy that you shoot at originally. So there's something really weird that you can do where you can shoot another dude and then shoot yourself forward and use it like a free move. I'm serious. I'm 100% serious. Just because of the weird wording of that ability, right?
That's funny.
Check it out. Doesn't mean
That's
it's good.
Really funny.
It doesn't mean it's good.
It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be funny.
It just has to be funny. Yeah. Like
I do find it hilarious that the buff only the actual like get some cool crit stuff only happens on 1 attack action.
Yeah.
But you still get launched on both attack actions.
Yes, that's it, right? That's it. Exactly.
It's so stupid.
So that's
so
why
good.
you can shoot the guy with the ability, and then a guy behind you can shoot, and then you go forwards to cap objectives or whatever, or fly off of buildings, whatever the hell you want to do. I think Games Workshop has issues with snipers. I think that shooting in Warcry is one of those weird things where it's real difficult to battle. Like we talked about Sindri, whatever her name is. Yes,
Sindri's from Dawn of War.
Sindri's from God of War.
There we go. She has a problem where she gets too good, basically. Now, the problem with snipers is that they're either amazing because they're snipers and they have to live that whole like sniper fantasy of I'm halfway across the board, line up my shot, shoot you, do massive damage, but that's not really an engaging playstyle for Warcry at all. Or they're garbage and they're like, one shot but with wild variance in their dice. Yeah. And then that is garbage until you find a way to break the mechanic. By either getting more shots, getting it to shoot again, whatever. So I like the idea behind the sniper, and I really do get where he was going with the ability. It's like, okay, I'm going to look down my sights. I'm going to reduce the toughness of the guy so I don't have to basically give this thing massive strength, and it will stop people from just going, I'm going to give this thing +1 strength from Divine Blessings. And then you get to crit better, which is fine, but did it need such a big downside to it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if they wanted to stop the massive variance in crit, they could have basically made it like a 1-5 or something. And then you apply that ability to all its attacks, and then it's fine. Or you pull in the damage values, right? Make it like a 3-5 or something in that range where, you can crit, but it's only a couple more points of damage, and it's not as feel bad as some other things. I think it's interesting, but
I've seen them play in the past with like we saw it with a Thoracon where they have like a once per game
they got
ability.
1 shot superpower.
Yeah.
And I think having snipers where they can clear chaff and then they get a once per game or a yes, you can do this, but there's so many hoops to jump through. But when you do jump through all the hoops, you've got your clear shot. So you do like bang on 30 damage.
Yeah.
30 damage is a lot, but you get something that is like super. The result is very consistent if you go through all the hoops. I think that would be a lot cooler for the design of a sniper. But as it is at the moment, pretty much, and I'm looking at it from the point of view of like snipers and Stormcast as well, you've got a bunch of them that are supposed to be like, one-shot hits and stuff like that.
Big gun.
Yeah.
Whatever.
One dice.
Yeah. It's the Aether Cannon. It's the Aether Cannon problem. That's basically what it is.
So
Aether Cannons are either garbage or they're fantastic.
Well, it depends if you can give them 2 attacks. Plus 2 attacks to each attack action.
You can't anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But that's the thing. Like, does that mean that they're kind of out? Because you can't kill anything with 1 dice. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of these things where I think it's a consistency that needs to be the focus. And this one isn't consistent, but it is fun. Like seeing like a rat go through the battlefield with the reverse of a dog, like kind of dragging its ass on the floor, is just it's just peak cinema,
I would have preferred if it didn't move, right? So Skaven, from back in my day, were incredibly self-destructive with their wacky technology, and Jazales, which this guy's got, in particular, blew up if you missed, basically. Right? So it would have been great to see if this guy had like an absolutely just bonkers crit profile, but if he rolled a single one, he instantly died. I mean, so thematic. I mean, great.
No,
instant
I've
death.
seen people roll entirely too many ones for that.
Boy, howdy, it's Future Toast here. Unfortunately, we did have some pretty major technical issues that cut off the last half an hour of our Wild Dice podcast. But needless to say, we were all pretty darn happy with what came out of it all. And before we go into the outro, which we did in advance, because apparently we can plan ahead sometimes, here are some plugs and all that. So you can find me at War Games on Toast, which makes sense. You are watching it on War Games on Toast already. I do Warcry stuff. It's kind of cool. You can find Off Meta Musings at Off Meta Musings, who also does some pretty darn fantastic Warcry stuff, and we collaborate all of the time. You can find Girth Demon at 3 Heroes 1 Chaff. Slap that into YouTube and you will find it straight away. And you'll get some of the best competitive content for Warcry ever. They're 4 guys who are fantastic at Warcry, and like Girth was saying earlier in the podcast, they cleared Nova with a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th sweep, which is pretty darn cool. And last but not least, you can head over to Instagram and put in @LordPhylax to find Phylax, and keep an eye out for future tournaments by him under the banner of World Cry UK. With all of that out of the way, on to the outro. This has been the Wild Dice Podcast. I've been Toast.
Lord Phylax.
Goddamn, Ethan, you just ruined it. My name's Rob, also known as Girth Demon.
Off Meta Musings. Thank you very much. There we go. Look at that. We have isolated sound streams here.
Is Nigel Thornberry. Pronounce it correctly. I don't want to hear it ever again.
Nailing the outro every time.